It was an absolute joke from start to finish. We thought Jack had got this out of our system. It's embedded. It's riddled. There is no way that this comes out of our system until January.
It's back to square one now. The honeymoon is over, and maybe that's a good thing.
All of a sudden, Jimbo, Barnsley have created a right mess. What we need to do to get ourselves out of this hole is go back to the recruitment of 10 years ago and nick all their bloody players.
We all want a team that can go, oh, well, you scored 3, we'll go and score 4. We want that. Nowhere near that team at the moment.
Stop blaming yourself. These players have done it to 3 managers now. It's not you. So the last thing I needed on the way home was to hear Cal Naismith's interview, which is absolutely downright outrageous, to be quite honest, after you've lost 5-0. Absolutely outrageous.
My God, what a waste of a weekend.
The Town treated us to an absolute pathetic afternoon of football at Oakwell on Saturday when we went down 5-0 to Barnsley. Alongside me to look back on the disaster class of a game is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, I hope you've got some words up your sleeve, mate, because I'm still so angry I don't think I've got many.
Gotta say, don't think I've got much else.
Well, we're definitely not getting an hour out of this one, folks, but what we do get out of it will come along after this intro. Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast. This season the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned prior to the intro, we are looking back at Barnsley 5, Luton Town 0, and that's the last time I'm going to say that scoreline. And I've got the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe alongside me as always. Jimbo, I've done the instant reaction. Your turn.
I thought you were quite measured and unscathing, to be honest, in the instant reaction, because
Can I just thank Steve for at that point? He was on the podcast at the start of the season. He's a friend of mine, lives in Yorkshire. I got him a ticket to the game, and he helped me out massively going on that instant reaction yesterday because I could quite easily have flipped my lid. So that was good. That was the good part of the afternoon.
yeah, well, I mean, scratching around to try and find many good points of it, and there weren't. What's the point in trying to sit here and dress this up as finding little bits of improvement here, something good there? There wasn't any. I'm not having anyone that's. I'm not believing anyone that says there is, and there was no redeeming qualities about that. They've got pumped 5-0. They haven't scored a goal for ages. They had one shot. Can't remember that. They now can't keep goals out. That we were talking about defensively beforehand, 3 clean sheets. Well, that's gone out the window, and the less said about the middle, the better. It was, yeah, that's not good enough. But we've been here before. We've been doing podcasts after Middlesbrough. We've been here after West Brom. It's just dispiriting. It was an utterly crap weekend. And yeah, if I had my view, just go to the pub now and have done with it. Sorry that you're listening to this on your Monday morning commute. If you are, maybe just get off a stop early and go to a cafe and have a cup of tea or something. Maybe a pub, if you're that way inclined. Do something that you like. Go for a walk. Do something that is a good use of your time, because my God, what a waste of a weekend.
Indeed, yeah. We're not going to do this for an hour, that's for sure. We're going to be bringing you lots of podcasts this week, and hopefully the rest of them are a slightly more positive tone. Well, much more positive tone, actually, than this one. Obviously, we've got a midweek game. I don't know if we're looking forward to that or not. We'll decide on that when we do the preview podcast. You've hit the nail on the head there. The fact that this is the 3rd time in a little over 12 months that you and I have sat behind this table and reflected on a defeat that we've conceded 5 goals in is unacceptable. And actually, thank FUCK, it was only 5 goals, because it could easily have been 10.
Oh, it should
It
have
could
been
easily have been
loads
10.
more. It should have been loads more. The thing is, Barnsley have had less than half the possession of Luton. They've managed more than double the shots. 5 of them on target, 5 goals. They should have scored a load more. They were through on goal many more times, hit the woodwork. It should have been an absolute rout. It's embarrassing at 5-0 enough. And that's not just Luton. Any professional football team loses 5-0, not good enough. But there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing.
No, there wasn't. And the warning shots came early. 90 seconds, 2 minutes, if it was that they rattled the crossbar for the first time. The right winger, young lad, can't remember his name. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but whatever his name was, rattled the crossbar. He hit the crossbar again later on in the half, or the post. Couldn't really see what it was from an open goal. And once the goals came, as ever in this football team, when a goal comes, they keep on coming, and they'll keep on coming. And do you know what? They'll keep on coming until the referee's final whistle blows. And that was exactly the case yesterday. The first goal's a joke. It's an absolute embarrassment. All 5 are pretty embarrassing, but the first one is pathetic. I know Zach's a young lad. I'm not going to call him out. He'll know that pass wasn't the right pass, but Walsh could have done him a favour and come towards that pass before the geezer got there. And then once Mengi's square on with the fella, he's got no chance. Absolutely no chance. I was taught as a 6-year-old you'd never get square on with an attacker, because once you do, once he's past you, by the time you've turned round, you can't get back to him. Now that Cleary, let's clear up something that Steve said in the instant reaction where he said he didn't do anything special. It's hard to record an instant reaction when you're emotional like that and it's a camera on you straight after the game. What he actually meant was we didn't make life anywhere near as difficult for him as what we should have done. Not to take anything away from his performance. His performance was special. But we didn't make it anywhere near hard enough for him. Mengi stands square, watches him go past him. The only good thing Mengi did do was not foul him, like at Forest Green, and get himself sent off. And then we would have been in all sorts of as much as we were in it to begin with. That was the first goal. The second goal is another joke. The same person, Cleary. There's a sort of correlation to all of these goals, Jimbo, because his name's going to pop up in each and every single one of them. Gets the ball on the right-hand side. Izzy Jones looks like he stood him up, which is fine, but at no stage really did he force him inside. But to be fair to this Cleary guy, whether he would, even if he forced him inside, he had 2 feet and he was useful. Pokes the ball through Jones's legs. Then the striker just walks past our captain, literally walks past our captain for a tap-in. 2-0. 3-0. Walsh has fouled the guy on the edge of the box. Okay, that's fine. He was going to shoot. Someone had to go out and engage. Got a yellow card for that. Very lucky he didn't get a second one 5 minutes later. Wall doesn't jump. Ball goes in the middle of the goal. 3-0. 4-0. Set piece. 3 times we've got to clear that. 3 chances we've got to clear that. Kadir's the last chance to clear it. He clears it straight into the back of our net. No one on the line to get rid of it. 5th one, absolute shambles. Mengi passes the ball straight to their guy, runs away from their guy rather than going and engaging him to stop him from passing the ball through to Keeler Dunn. By the way, that guy is Cleary. Of course it is. He's involved in every single goal. To Keeler Dunn, who hardly has to do a thing to get past Naismith, who does nothing to get back to him to try and put a block in for the shot. He just lets him shoot and he rolls it in the corner. And how it was only 5, I've no idea. Phillips, who you meant to mention in the preview podcast because we were supposedly all over him in the summer, should have had 2 goals after that. It was an absolute joke from start to finish. All we hear from Jack Wilshere, and this isn't on Jack, this is these players. They do this time and time again. When we concede the first goal away from home, we absolutely stink the place out. And actually, do you know what? The amount of people who left at 3-0, fair play to you. The people who left at 4-0, and those even who stayed right until the end, fair play to you, because we could all leave at 1, because this team hasn't got in it to fight back. Are we still Cardiff away for the last time we conceded the first goal and won? That's back in March. That's 8 months ago. That's not good enough. We thought Jack had got this out of our system. It's embedded. It's riddled. There is no way that this comes out of our system until January.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone points to. I don't know if it does, because, listen, it's nice to think that you get to a transfer window and you can just buy who you want and get out who you want, but that's not how it works. You have to get people to go the other way before you can get people to come in, and do you get people to come in the way you're playing? Listen, we thought they had turned a corner, and it's right that we celebrated victory. So anybody saying, oh, well, you're too happy about Stockport, well, we haven't had many. So forget about that. Take each game as it comes, celebrate them, or criticise them as they come. But we haven't turned a corner. We had, but we've gone back to bad old ways, actually. Even though some of it was against Forest Green, some of it was against under-21s of Brighton, you have to take that run as a positive from where we've been. But it's back to square one now. The honeymoon is over. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe if you're looking for silver linings, that's probably a good thing. Certainly, Jack said it was a reality check. And the fact that maybe we've got a game on Tuesday against Huddersfield, a quick turnaround to try and rectify this might be a good thing. They're the only things I could possibly think that you could even stretch to a positive. But then again, and I think the evidence was showing before this game that our best chances were away. Well, that's gone now.
Yeah, that comment aged like milk, didn't it? But it was true. You're right. I mean, the home performance, there hasn't been a good home performance this season, which is the concern right now because we've got 2 tough home games coming up. We've played 9 away games. 4 of them have been like this, where we've absolutely stunk the place out. Now, we hear every single time in your press conferences, Jimbo, that we have to win our duels. We have to earn the right to play before we play. We barely won a duel yesterday. I think the statistics tell you that overall it's something like 50% of the duels. But the key players, the players that you want winning duels, didn't win anywhere near enough of them yesterday. Naismith won 2 out of 7 duels yesterday. I think Anderson was something along the lines of 2 out of 5 and Mengi 1 out of 4. So if you add that lot up together, I think that's 5 out of 19, if my maths is right, 17, 19. Either way, it's not good enough. But we've been here before, haven't we? And we keep on thinking we can't be here again because surely there's enough professional sodding pride in this lot that it won't happen again. But no, it keeps on happening. 3rd time in a little over 12 months that we've conceded 5, and that's 5. There's plenty of 3s and 4s in that time as well. Too many 3s and 4s in that time as well. That this has got to change. And the thing that kind of made me most angry about this, there is something that's made me angry about this, Jimbo, and I'll come on to that later, maybe. But I didn't see it coming. The other 2 I did, because we couldn't keep the ball out of our back of our net for love nor money. And if we came up against a ruthless side, 5s were always going to happen. This time, I just could not see it coming. Could not see it coming. But it has. And it keeps on coming. And it will come again. That is for sure. It will come again. It's ingrained in this lot. And unless there's radical changes. And now if we can't defend, and we can't defend, let's get the notion out of the way that we can. We can't defend. We got a clean sheet against Rotherham. You and I could have helped keep that clean sheet. There was no attacking. How they scored a goal yesterday, I've absolutely no idea. But we could have kept that clean sheet. The only time Northampton looked like scoring was when we played them straight through. And obviously Stockport was a good clean sheet. Fair play to them. That was good. Someone actually mentioned in our comments in the preview for this episode, after Peterborough's 3-0 win against Stockport, has that lessened the magnitude of that win? Based on yesterday, it probably has. But at the same time, it was still a good win at the time, and you can only beat the Stockport that was in front of you. And at the time, they were a good Stockport, and maybe our 3-0 win contributed to their 3-0 defeat on Thursday night. But if you can't defend, you've got to attack. Now, we had a shot yesterday. It must have come between 45 and 50 minutes because I was still supping beer at half time. Because I can't remember it. Because you can't tell me that Welsh chance is a shot.
No.
He lifts it over the goalkeeper and then gets crowded out. That's not a shot.
No.
So I don't know where this shot happened, but wherever it happened, then fair play to whoever it was. Congratulations, you contributed to a shot. But our attacking output yesterday was pathetic. I mean, the whole thing was pathetic. You look at the 2 sides. They played exactly how I want a Luton team to play. As soon as they got the ball, the wide players went wide, midfield runners everywhere. The forward was on the shoulder of his defender. Well, actually, that's a lie because the forward wasn't anywhere near Mads Andersen. The only time he got close to them was when he was hugging them before the game. There was nowhere near it. And when they attacked, it was relentless. It was in numbers. It was everything that we did at Stockport, actually. But since Stockport, our attacking, Christ alive.
I mean, the way they played was no surprise. Jack, even after the Rotherham game, said they'll press us, and they did. But they attacked in numbers.
I'm not sure they did, Jimbo. I think they sat off us and waited for us to make a passing mistake. I don't recall any of those goals really coming from them putting us under pressure.
The one where you talk about Zach's pass and Walsh then clearly jumps in on that. He's pressed them really well, but they attacked in numbers and it looked like there were oceans of space on the Oakwell pitch. It's very telling and very disappointing. There was a comment on our on your instant reaction, which I thought was quite interesting from a Barnsley fan, which I'll read. So Jim Jones C6Q on YouTube, he said, Barnsley fan in peace here. You guys were absolutely awful. Fair enough. Wilshere did absolutely everything you'd expect a newly qualified manager to do, almost play-by-play out of the FA handbook. It's exceptionally easy to play against that type of football. It fits us down to the ground as well. You played straight into our hands. We've got quality attacking players for this league, but it's all a bit vibes-based. Very naive from Wilshere. Think you'll still be in the playoff chase. Not that you'd be happy with that, mind. Maybe that's it. And if there's learning to be done, maybe that's it. That he has talked about Jules winning those, fighting, suffering. So there, he's got that in his mind, I think. But it didn't come off in any way, shape, or form at Barnsley. And maybe the reality check part of what he's saying is noticing that those players that didn't put their boot in or weren't close to the man they were supposed to be marking, or that's got to be some of the analysis of here, of trying to find out. You've got to be ruthless about this. I don't think anyone's going to be happy about seeing some of the same names on the same team sheet for Tuesday. If he learns from it, great, and he's got the good people behind him to facilitate that. It's a huge lesson to learn, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him a couple of lessons to learn. The first one, don't take that on your shoulders, Jack. We've had the 2 previous managers who've done that. You give these players an escape route and they'll jump all over it. Don't do that. Stop blaming yourself. These players have done it to 3 managers now. It's not you. And the second thing to learn, this slow and ponderous passing malarkey ain't it. You think of the 4 goals that Luton have scored under Jack Wilshere. Let's take the cup games out of the way. The under-21 team's not fit for purpose, and Forest Green. We can use those goals, to be fair, because they fit the bill as well. Every goal we've scored under Jack has been fast-moving football. The ball has been moving very, very quickly. It's been moving into the centre of the pitch and then out wide. It's been moving from out wide into the strikers. It's been playing through the thirds. All this passing along the back and then out to the sides, and then, oh Christ, we've got nowhere to go. I know, we'll go backwards and we'll recycle it the other side. That ain't cutting it in this league. Did Barnsley do that yesterday? No. They had about 15 chances from 31% of the ball, not by passing it around the back. As soon as they got it, it was straight into Connell, the guy I flagged up in the preview. And then from him, it was straightforward. Pretty much every single time, it was straight out to Cleary. How many times did he have to rinse us before we thought about doubling up on him? Not once did we double up on him, which goes back to what Steve said in the instant reaction. We never made it difficult for him at all. Flip that around. In the first half, when Kadir had the ball, he had to go past 3 men before he could get to the byline and cross it. Now, a couple of those crosses were overhit. They came out of the Miliali school of crossing. But even then, if they were anticipated in the middle, someone had a tap in. You must have seen it by the 3rd goal. Surely we're doubling up on him after that. But no, goals 4 and 5 still come down his wing, 1-on-1. Why? I mean, I'm not a football analyst in any way, shape or form. It took me 10 minutes to look through the Barnsley team.
You kind of are.
I'm not. I'm not. But it took me 10 minutes to pick out Connell as a threat. Okay, I didn't pick out this Cleary guy because I think he's only played something like 7 or 8 games, and we were focusing on the goal scorer who scored the 5th goal. But I did also say that the one way we were going to get him was be on the shoulder of Mark Roberts, and Nicky Wells was clean through on goal, like I said he would be. If I'm seeing these things in 10 minutes of just looking at statistics and highlights, surely there's a whole analyst team that's looking at all of this for a much longer period than what I am, who can detect all of this stuff. Why are we not doubling up on a guy who is absolutely killing us? Even if you haven't seen it beforehand and they're playing differently and he's having a worldie of a game that he never normally has. He only had 1 assist before yesterday. I'm assuming he doesn't play like this every week. He's tripled his assists in 1 game. That's where we're at. But even after the 2nd goal, surely a message gets out onto the pitch. Okay, kids, be careful. Don't leave Izzy exposed to him. Get back and double up on him and force him to play it back, like Gideon Kadir has to play it back every time he gets the ball. There was none of it.
No, I agree. And maybe that's part of the learning, isn't it? But I mean, there's so much there to fix. You know, if you can't keep them out, then you've got to be able to score more. You can't score. Chasms in the midfield that they just ran into. At one point this season, we were going, well, the midfield's not the problem. That's okay. I guess that you could say that was because Clark was in that midfield, but
that midfield's changed though, hasn't it, Jimbo? That midfield changed at Stockport as this formation did. Now, changing the formation for Stockport is fine. Best team in the league, most dangerous team in the league, scored the most goals in the league, biggest threat in the league. That's all absolutely fine. Rotherham, nothing like. One of the lowest scorers in the league, had absolutely zero threat. Still went with 3 defenders. Now, people are right when they say that the formation's fluid, and that's fine. But defenders are defenders, midfielders are midfielders, and strikers are strikers. And the more midfielders and strikers you've got on the pitch, the more your chances of scoring goals are than if you've got more defenders than either of those on the pitch. And Barnsley, I said it in the preview, kept 1 clean sheet this season prior to yesterday. That was their first home clean sheet since February the 1st in the league. I've not checked the cup games. I really don't care about early cup games because teams rotate way too many players. February the 1st. 9.5 months since they've kept a home clean sheet. The old keeper, he could have filled one of the 20,000 or so red seats that were in the home end, and he still would have kept a clean sheet.
Yeah, it's a major problem. We've got a striker problem. Massively.
We've got one now because he strolled off in a protective boot. So we got one now because you ain't seeing Wales on Tuesday night, not unless that boot was there for fashion. I don't think it was. So now you've got Wales in a protective boot. So now you've got Yates, who doesn't want to go to the ball. He wants to come out, which then leaves us with nothing going forward. All of a sudden, Jimbo, Barnsley have created a right mess. What we need to do to get ourselves out of this hole is go back to the recruitment of 10 years ago and nick all their bloody players, because that's the last time that we looked really, really good, when they were our feeder club. And, I'll take that left winger right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
I wouldn't mind the next time I hear the name Cleary. It's in a transfer window. But, yeah, I mean, they looked a very cohesive, fluid attacking team.
But they're not, though, are they? They're not. Because if they were, they wouldn't have lost at home to Port Vale and Rotherham. So we've contributed to how they've looked, right? They can't look like that every week, because you look at the goal scoring output at home. I think it was something like 10 in 7 or something stupid, and then when they've gone and halved that in one afternoon. They're a good side, Barnsley. I enjoyed watching them with gritted teeth. If you're a neutral, and I was sat next to a neutral yesterday, if you're a neutral, you're looking at them and you're thinking, cool, I might come and watch them again because that was good. You're looking at us and you're thinking, Jesus, it's years before I go and watch them again, and I support us, and I wouldn't go against that. But they can't be that good, otherwise they wouldn't have started the day below us in the table, and like I say, lost at home to Rotherham and Port Vale. Port Vale can't win a game of football bottom of the table, and we saw what Rotherham offered.
Yeah, well, yes, and we'll kind of have to accept that this is where we are. I mean, you don't have to accept it. It's not acceptable.
We're not accepting that.
No, don't accept the performance. I mean, where you are in the league. I mean, I got overexcited. No, I got excited by the Stockport game. You should have got excited. I told you that at the time. I said the promotion's back on the table. I can't even find a table at the moment. The table's not there, let alone the word promotion. So, it might take longer. And I've referenced it a couple of times. This thing that Chris Powell said, we want it to happen quickly. We thought we turned the corner. We thought we could be happening it quickly, but he also said it might not. And we're back in the land and might not.
We're back in the land of where we needed to go a while ago, Jimbo, and that is promote the youth, because these senior players just aren't cutting it.
Which youth? Because I think,
unfortunately, there were 2 youth on the bench yesterday who should never be on the bench ever again. They should be starting every single game. Jake Richards and Lamine Fanny.
No, correct. Absolutely correct. And unfortunately, and I want him to do well, and I don't want to dig him out, but, when he's given a chance, he's not cutting it at the moment. And that's Zach Nelson. And when you saw that team sheet, Fanny and Richards not on there and him on, I was a bit worried. And now this has, confirmed those worries. I don't know how that improves. Obviously he's got to have more game time, but it's not working. And then that means he'll just have to come out of the side again. He didn't get in the squad for the Stockport game. and said he was close and blah, blah, blah. But, Richards is a few years younger than him. And, there's something in Zach, because England coaches wouldn't keep picking him for England youth sides. But when an 18-year-old who's had more men's football, actually, so that might be it. That might be the reason. More men's football for Exeter in Richards. He's head and shoulders above him at the moment. Now, this thing about squad rotation is fine, I suppose, in theory, but sometimes maybe you just got to pick the same side that's doing well. You've got to look at it and say there's players there that didn't perform, and the ruthless part of being a manager there, or the selection of it, is that you've just got to look at that and be very objective about it, regardless of what they've done in training or how nice a fella they are. It's not working, so they can't start again.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's bang out of confidence, isn't he? And bang out of form, Zach Nelson. And it was unfortunate that it was his pass that contributed to the first goal. And of course, we knew what was happening after the first goal. It happens every single time we concede the first goal. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't necessarily think he was played in a position that in any way helped him yesterday.
That's the thing as well. We don't know his position yet, because
it's not that.
Yeah, but under Edwards and Bloomfield, he was more advanced, and Wilshere's talked about him being able to play all of them, but not really like nailing down one at the moment. So as a utility player, then we just don't know what he is best at yet.
No, we don't. And you're right. He needs to sort that out rather quickly. Does Jack? He will do. He knows midfielders better than anyone, doesn't he? And that's fine. But yeah, I mean, I was going to make a point about the midfield earlier. It changed at Stockport, didn't it? Before Stockport, it was Saville behind. Well, as it turned out, Clark and Fanny, but it also became Richards and Fanny once Clark got injured, didn't it? But at Stockport, it was two deeper lying midfielders, and then the one in Fanny as an attacking midfielder, which is fine against Stockport. When you're going to Stockport, largely, I think you're going to Stockport, if you come away with a 0-0, you're happy days, and if you can nick one on the break, you're even happier days. I don't think we're going to Barnsley, who, as I pointed out, no clean sheet at home since February the 1st. I don't think you'll go in there wanting a 0-0 draw. And if you are, 90 seconds into the game, your game plan nearly got ripped up and everything else. So having Walsh and Saville alongside each other ain't working. Because Walsh is a creative midfielder, but you can't create from where he is on the pitch. That's just, that's not. So you only need one of them to free the other one. Now, if we're playing those deeper line midfielders, but one of them's Fanny, he's got it. He's got the athletic capacity to go forward.
He's box to box, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the athletic capacity to go forward and make up the numbers. That Walsh hasn't got that. He hasn't got the physicality to do it. He's a good passer, Liam Walsh. Again, he was very, very lucky to be on the pitch after half-time yesterday, because if that's the other way, I'm screaming blue murder for a second yellow card for the foul on the touchline.
Agreed.
I can only assume that the reason why the referee didn't give the foul on the touchline was because he'd already booked Cleary for diving 10 minutes prior to that. I don't know why he dived inside his own half when he had Izzy Jones on toast anyway, but I think replays have suggested that he clearly did dive for that yellow card, so fair play to the referee for noticing that. I just don't think that those two, if we're playing three centre-halves, I just don't think that those two can sit together and for us to be effective going forward, because there's just nothing ahead of, when you do get the ball out wide, so when you did get the ball to Zach Nelson, forget the fact that Zach's out of form and out of confidence, where's he got to go with it? Because he's only got Wells in front of him, or he's got to play a worldy pass to Kadir on the other side, because Saville's not there to get up with him. Walsh is not there. So that's why he cut inside and he played what he thought was a pass that was on to Walsh. Now, in hindsight, the pass probably to the centre-back. Pass to the centre-back and you get an awful lot of grief because we want the ball to go forward. But I think that's an area that we need to solve now, because, against Rotherham, we didn't have Saville. Maybe it's fair enough. But we've got Saville now. He's perfectly capable of covering that defence and shielding it. We need people in the attacking part, especially now that it looks like Wells is going to be injured for a while. I didn't hear no prognosis or anything, but I'm pretty sure people have said that they saw him in a protective boot after the game. So therefore, let's say he's definitely out of these two games. You don't wear a boot and come back within a week. So now you've got Yates who's coming deeper for the ball. So now we have to have someone going the other way. Otherwise, we're just going to get swamped in the middle of the park. So something needs to happen in that midfield now. And I like Walsh. I still think he's a red card waiting to happen too often, but I like him. But I don't think those two can play together now. I think it's got to be Saville or Walsh, and it's got to be Saville right now. I think he's head and shoulders above Walsh at the minute. Then it's got to be Fanny. Now whether Fanny's asked to come alongside Saville and then go forward the other way, or whether he just plays forward, that's fine. And then whilst we're waiting for Clark to come back, it's got to be Richards or Zach Nelson. Can't think of anyone else who really can play there naturally. And then of course you're going to have Yates up front, and then you'll have Kadir and whoever it is on the wing. If it's Bramall and you play Naismith at left back, then that's absolutely fine. But it's that part now that we're struggling, because that's why we're not creating chances of scoring goals, because suddenly we've got 5 defensive players on the pitch. If you take out the wing backs and call them more attacking players, you've got 3 centre halves and two deep line central midfielders who largely aren't getting within 40 yards of the opposition goal because it's not their job to.
Yeah, and that should be like a major concern anyway. But now you've got to think that they can't keep goals out, and so it's everywhere. It's happening everywhere simultaneously, all at once. And I don't know how you solve that mystery and riddle in 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever it is between the next game. It's going to be a tough watch. I can imagine this next game against Huddersfield, but you know they've got to just at least show some fight, and that's what I mean. If you're back to square one, we thought we'd got that part. They were showing some fight. They were. You could pick bits and pieces like, well, Stockport had a 20-minute early barrage, and maybe they'd have done what Barnsley did. Well, maybe, but they didn't. So you can't deal with maybes. You've got to deal with what happened. But this game, utterly disastrous for the momentum that was built, the confidence that was built, the way forward that we thought was happening. And now it's gone. In one game like that. You're not getting back into that game. We all want a team that can go, oh, well, you scored 3, we'll go and score 4. We want that. Nowhere near that team at the moment.
No, we're not. Yeah, it wasn't even like at 3-0 we looked like getting back into the game, did we? We didn't even have a shot on goal in the second half. Or did Fanny have a shot that flew wide or something? I can't remember. I wasn't really paying a great deal of attention. I was too busy looking at it through my fingers by that point, because every time they had the ball, it looked like going in the back of our net. And yeah, thankfully only 5 of them did. Otherwise, well, it would have been even worse. I was pretty cheesed off yesterday, Jimbo, as you can imagine. I was cheesed off before the game as a cricket fan. That was terrible. I was cheesed off during the game. That was terrible. So the last thing I needed on the way home was to hear Cal Naismith's interview, which is absolutely downright outrageous, to be quite honest, after you've lost 5-0. Absolutely outrageous. To put anything like that onto the fans when you've, before, other than an apology, which didn't even come. After that, when you've watched Matey walk past you for the second goal, and Matey walk past you for the 5th goal, and won 2 out of your 7 duels, to put any of that on supporters, not sure. I can't be having that. Cannot be having that at all.
He's not done himself any favours with that comment. Unless, listen, I don't know what his intentions were. I could see a world where he's trying to say, we need your support, guys, but the words he said were not that, and they didn't come across that. But listen, I don't think he's done himself any favours whatsoever there, because in any interview after a 5-0 defeat, any interview, not this, just any game, the first words out of your mouth, I think what the fans want to hear is, we're sorry about that. And then maybe some explanation as to why. And that's all that needs to be said, because it's not good enough. So yeah, that's going to be a hard one to square, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this was, listen, Cal, Luton fans can take losing. Christ, we've had enough practice of it since you swanned off to Bristol City. We've had enough practice of it. But there are ways to lose football matches, and this team doesn't lose football matches in the right way too often. We've played 9 away matches this season. In 4 of them, we have not turned up at all. And the only reason why the score wasn't, yesterday's score in those other ones is because those other teams aren't as good as Barnsley, or won't be as good as Barnsley long term. But the performances, the lack of fight, the lack of winning duels and everything else has been there at Bradford, at Lincoln, at Stevenage, and evident with neon lights on yesterday. And you still had 1,500 fans there yesterday. You had a sold-out away end at Stockport. You had a sold-out away end at Northampton after some terrible away performances. Yesterday cost people, if someone went there on their own yesterday, Jimbo, as an adult, they've spent 80 quid before they've even walked through the turnstile. To have that from their captain, and there was not vitriolic anger from everyone behind that goal at the end yesterday. There were a few home truths shouted, but we're not 50 rows, we're 25 rows up before the first row of fans, and there was loudspeakers. They've not all heard of that, and even if they have, you've just lost 5-0 without putting any kind of intensity into a challenge whatsoever. You have to suck that up and just take it on the chin, I'm afraid. And in your interview, you come out, you say, I'm sorry, thanks to the fans who stayed behind and supported us all the way. And then you bugger off back up the tunnel and you have out with your teammates because they're the problem yesterday, not the supporters.
Yeah, it doesn't come across well. You and I have both spoken to him. He's a nice guy, and maybe he didn't mean that. I don't know. I just don't know. It's not what you need to be saying, really.
He has a social media account, Jimbo. If that is not how it come across, you're free to post on there and say, look, I got that wrong and apologise even now. It'll be hollow, much more hollow now, but you can still do it. I haven't seen it yet, so I can only assume that what he said is what he meant. And with this football club have read the room so badly over the last 12 months, but he's read it that badly there, I'm not even sure he's in the tower block, let alone the room. That was scandalous. The only thing that he and the players should be digging fans out for yesterday were a few bloody pound notes to give them their money back, because that was pathetic. I can't even dress it up as any other word. I don't want to use words like pathetic, embarrassing, and all of that. But it is. It is. It's every bit of that. And it's not the first rodeo. It would be embarrassing if it was the first rodeo. The third one in 12 months, give or take a week or two. They're lucky they've got away fans at all. One thing I will say on characters don't lose 5-0. Characters will have enough about them to kick someone up in the air and make sure that it's only 3-0 and stop it from happening. Characters don't wilt. So if we've got these characters, it's about bloody time they show themselves on the football pitch when we go a goal behind. Because we're going to go a goal behind an awful lot. Probably more than what we thought a couple of weeks ago. We can't keep losing like this. Even when we go a goal behind, we don't lose 1-0. It's always 3. It would have been 3 against Stevenage if the geezer hadn't missed the open goal. Was it Reed who went through on goal and missed? It would have been 3 then. It's always 3, at the very least. And it's got to stop. And it's got to stop quick, because they think they're getting away fans in January with that schedule, playing like that. Exeter, Doncaster, Plymouth, Huddersfield. You've got no chance. No chance. Not a prayer. Particularly when your captain's coming out and talking nonsense like that and digging fans out. Didn't like it, Jimbo. Didn't like it at all. That's me done.
Yeah. I think let's knock that on the head. Listen, we've got to try and forget about it. Wasn't nice. We've got this game on Tuesday that maybe we can look to somehow, but it's a big ask to come back from this. But I mean, like I say, you've got to try and find something else to occupy yourself with and give yourself some joy, because I've had a crap weekend. You've had a crap weekend, and so have you. And it's been too many times.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even sign off the instant reaction with have a good weekend, because you weren't going to have a good weekend, were you? None of us are going to have a good weekend. It's absolutely terrible. The good thing is we get it out of our system Tuesday night, and let's hope that the performance is a hell of a lot better on Tuesday. Would you be surprised to know there wasn't a correct score for this one, Jimbo?
Yeah, we predicted goals, but bloody hell, not like that.
No, definitely not like that. In fact, I'll have that Rotherham game back, please.
Well, even that. You put
It's that Mick
listen,
McCarthy thing, isn't it? When you think that it can't get any worse than that Rotherham game, it's that.
But there's the two games really. I mean, you could talk about the previous one saying, "Oh, we kept a clean sheet where we usually would concede." Yes, true. But now it's back to the bad old days. So now we can't attack. Don't know how to attack. So we can't break teams down if they sit in. We can't defend against teams that go full throttle against us. What the hell do we do? It's a big, big problem to sort out.
It is, yeah. And it's not a one-off, like I've said. And that is the big problem. It's not a one-off. And every time they give you hope, this gets thrown in a week or two later, doesn't it? And it needs to stop. And it needs to stop. Well, it needed to stop 12 months ago. But it certainly needs to stop now. That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks to everyone who came up to me yesterday. There were loads of you on that concourse, both before the game and at halftime. I needed a beer at halftime, and as did plenty of you by the looks of it. And let us know how much you enjoyed the podcast. And, we had a laugh and a joke about the Rotherham one, that nothing happened and things like that. And unfortunately, you've been subjected to this one as a result. But thanks for watching or listening, however it is that you've consumed this podcast. Just a piece of business to tidy up. It is the Trust AGM on Thursday night inside the Eric Morecambe Lounge at the football club. Trust members are welcome, and there are still spaces available. You can either attend in person or you can watch it on Zoom. If you are watching on Zoom, you do need to get in touch with Peter Mitchell, our secretary, just so that he can send you out the Zoom link. That is secretary@lutontownsporterstrust.com. And if you are turning up on person, it'd be handy if you could let us know in advance, just so that we've got all of the food and seating and everything sorted out. So that would be handy. That's Thursday, 7:30 in the Eric Morecambe Lounge, Kenilworth Road. Thanks to all of the folks at Marsh House, the proud new home of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast. We really appreciate your support, guys, particularly this week when we're going to be in this studio quite a lot with this midweek game coming up. And we also appreciate Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music. Till next time, where we will preview a home game against Huddersfield, from Jimbo and myself, never again, Town. Please, never again.